Donald Trump's tax plan released today. He has experts saying the Trump tax plan would cost more than $10 trillion over 10 years. Robert McIntyre, director of Citizens for Tax Justice, he had this to say about the plan. Yet another presidential candidate is making a mockery of populism by trumpeting a massive tax break for the rich as a plan that would benefit average Americans. The top 1% of Americans would receive an average tax break of $184,000 per year, while the bottom 20% will receive an average tax cut of only $250. You know, this tax plan has already buzzing with controversy around it. People looking at it, calling it for what it is, trying to make sense of it. Let me break this down. So, married couples making $50,000 a year or less would pay no federal taxes. Singles making $25,000 a year or less would pay no federal taxes. 15% flat tax for all businesses. To pay for this, he's saying, I'm going to close loopholes and deductions. I count on some of those deductions myself, so that scares me. One-time tax on overseas products, $2.1 trillion in offshore cash, mandatory 10% tax in overseas money. That would inspire companies. This is what he's saying. It would inspire companies to bring money home, boosting jobs and investments. Reducing the number of tax brackets from 7 to 4. He also wants to eliminate the estate tax, which is primarily a tax for the wealthy. He has some supporters. Elizabeth Warren supports a portion of this plan. They were breaking this down on Jake Tapper, State of the Union. She apparently she supports his call to raise taxes on hedge fund managers. Also, Carl Icahn, supporter of the plan. The speculation is with him that he could possibly be Treasury Secretary one day, so he would need to support the tax code and federal tax plan in the event that he's managing the Treasury Department. Trump is saying that the plan is neutral. What do you think?
Well, on paper it looks neutral,
revenue
that's for sure.
Neutral.
Revenue neutral. Well, here's the thing. These taxes are the cornerstone of Republican appeal. They always try to lower the taxes. That's something that people really react to. And now Donald Trump is presenting a plan that one part of it really is going to upset the top tier of Republicans that are really rich people, and they will see in this case that they might get affected. But now you told me that there's some organizations that are actually looking into the numbers for real and realizing that in reality this is not a plan that brings taxes down for most of the, common citizens, but actually it's written in a way where the actual beneficiaries of these are the top 1%.
Mm-hmm. Well, there does seem to be a lot of benefit for that category, but he is saying that he does want to cut taxes seemingly across the board because, that's what this plan in theory does, although the bulk of the benefit would be for the 1%. Now, he's not alone in the GOP race of people saying a flat tax. Rand Paul, 14% flat tax across the board. Ben Carson, 10% flat tax. So that flat tax idea for people, it unconvolutes the tax code, and it has some appeal. It simplifies everything. This is what we're going to do. How this is going to benefit and what it takes to run our federal government, we have to wait and see on that one. I mean, the 10% overseas, hiking that 10%, trying to bring in that $2.1 trillion. I'm wondering how that's going to be received.
I mean, it's obviously there's going to be fierce critics of these measures. There's going to be people that say, you know what, this does not make any sense. But it's important to know that Donald Trump has done his entire campaign based on coming out with headline grabbing, bombastic propositions. At the end of it, there's not a lot of substance to it. He has not come and say, well, all this money that they account to up to $10 trillion that we're going to lose with this new tax plan from the revenue that exists today, where is it going to come from? Are we going to cut on defense, on military spending? Are we going to become so good at collecting these taxes that we're going to be making up for all the loopholes that today exist? I don't know. Those are the type of things that he needs to start addressing, and he needs to start explaining to the voter, because otherwise it's just empty words and empty campaign promise that he might can fool in the space of a note in a paper or on TV shows. But at the moment that we have to implement this on a large scale, what is it going to happen to the funds needed to run this country? Mm-hmm.
Well, the widely promoted tax hike in Trump's plan, closing that carried interest loophole, it would barely amount to a slap on the wrist for hedge fund managers. That would be that group that would impact. But I want to point this out. He has to be driving the GOP establishment absolutely crazy. He's screwing up their game plan here a little bit. And it's interesting to watch it because he's coming out, he's receiving so much press for this. I'm wondering if someone like a Jeb Bush would release a tax plan, if it would be getting this much attention.
I mean, it's hard. The thing with Donald Trump is that he cracked the code. He figured a way to run as a rogue candidate and at the same time become the face of the Republican Party without really being associated to the politics of the Republican Party. Even himself claimed that at some point that he will be running for president as a Democrat, and suddenly he is the star of the. I don't think he's the star of the party, but at the same time, today he's the most recognized name.
He's the most recognized name in politics, period, across the board.
You know, it's sad.
Mr. Trump would cut the tax rate to 25%. Now, that top income tax rate for regular income is 39.6. In theory, with this plan, it would cut it down to 25, the lowest it's been since 1931. Yeah. And that has some appeal.
No, it definitely has appeal for everyone.
I mean, to whom he's appealing remains to be seen, but he certainly has us talking about it. And
but it goes with his narrative. If you pay attention, he's coming out for talking to the GOP voters. He's saying, "I know you guys don't want taxes. I know that you feel that you're taking advantage by the rich. I'm going to help out. I'm going to show it."
The beneficiaries would be the very wealthy. I mean,
but here's the thing: he has managed to, play this magic tune for people to just believe what he's saying and grow with the fervor of the campaign. And at the end, I am very doubtful that he's going to be able to pull it off. I'm doubtful that he's going to pull off the candidacy. And if by the miracle he actually pulls it off and becomes president, we are going to be in a big trouble because I think he has not made the numbers correctly.
You don't see him jumping from contender to candidate, do you?
Not at all.
We'd love to know what you think at home about the Trump driving the GOP crazy, trumping their game plan. Let us know what you think about his tax plan. Is it understandable? Does it just require more analysis on all of our parts? Let us know what you think about this story. While you're at it, be sure to check out the rest of our channel. And of course, subscribe to the Lip TV for more.